The woman who drove Michael Jordan to basketball practice every day as a teenager now sits alone in her apartment, staring at $47,000 in medical bills she can't pay. Rosalind Williams sacrificed everything to help young Michael achieve his dreams, selling her car for his basketball shoes, working double shifts for his summer camp, believing in him when he got cut from his high school team. Now, 30 years later, the most famous basketball player in the world has no idea that the person who made his success possible is choosing between heart medicine and food, too proud to ask the nephew she raised for help. But when a mysterious basketball card appears in her mailbox with no explanation, it sets off a chain of events that will reveal just how much Michael Jordan remembers and how far he'll go to repay a debt that can never truly be repaid. This is the story of a family's love, a woman's pride, and a gift that changes everything. Rosalind Williams sat at her small kitchen table, staring at the stack of white papers in front of her. Her hands shook as she picked up the top one. The words "Final Notice" were printed in red letters across the top. $47,000, she whispered to herself. How can it be that much? The papers were medical bills from Cape Fear Valley Health System, all from her heart surgery. 3 months ago, the surgery that saved her life. The surgery she couldn't afford. Rosalind was 67 years old. She lived alone in a tiny apartment in Wilmington, North Carolina, the same city where she had raised her nephew Michael when he was a teenager, the same city where she had driven him to basketball practice every single day. That was a long time ago. Now Michael was famous. He was Michael Jordan, basketball star. He owned the Charlotte Hornets team. He had businesses and money and a big house. But Rosalind had never asked him for help. She was too proud. Her Social Security check came every month. It was enough for rent and food, but it wasn't enough for a $40,000 medical bill. It wasn't enough for the heart medicine she needed every day. It wasn't enough for much of anything. Rosalind looked around her apartment. The walls were thin. The carpet was old. The heater didn't work very well, but it was home. It was all she had. She picked up another paper from the stack. This one was from her doctor's office. It said she needed to pay for her medicine or they couldn't give her any more. Without the medicine, her heart could stop working. Without the medicine, she could die. What am I going to do? She asked the empty room. She thought about calling Michael. He would help her. She knew he would. But she also knew he was busy. He had his team to run. He had his children to take care of. He had his own life to live. Besides, she had already given him so much when he was young. She had used her grocery money to buy him basketball shoes. She had worked extra hours to pay for his summer camp. She had driven him everywhere, even when she was tired from working all day. I won't be a burden, she said out loud. Not now, not ever. The phone rang. The sound made her jump. She looked at the caller ID. It said Dorothy Chen. That was her neighbor from across the hall. Hi, Dorothy, Rosalind said, trying to sound happy. Hello, Rosalind. I'm going to the grocery store. Do you need anything? Dorothy was 72 years old. She was from China, but she had lived in America for 40 years. She was kind and always offered to help her neighbors. No, thank you, Rosalind said. I'm fine. But she wasn't fine. She had eaten soup for dinner 3 nights in a row. She had soup for lunch too. It was all she could afford. Are you sure? Dorothy asked. I don't mind picking up a few things for you. I'm sure. Thank you for asking. Rosalind hung up the phone. She felt bad about lying to Dorothy, but she couldn't tell her the truth. She couldn't tell anyone the truth. She looked at the medical bills again. The due date was 2 weeks away. After that, they would send her account to a collection agency. They might take her apartment. They might take everything she had. She picked up a photo from the table. It showed her and Michael at his high school graduation. He was 18 years old, tall and skinny. She was 32, wearing her best dress. They were both smiling. You were so young, she said to the photo. You had such big dreams. She remembered that day. Michael had been so proud. He was going to the University of North Carolina on a basketball scholarship. He was going to play for Dean Smith, the famous coach. He was going to be somebody. And you did it, she said. You became everything you wanted to be. But she also remembered the hard times. The times when Michael was scared. The times when he wanted to quit. The times when he cried because other kids said he wasn't good enough. She was the one who told him to keep trying. She was the one who drove him to practice when he didn't want to go. She was the one who believed in him when nobody else did. Good enough is not enough, she had told him. You have to be better than good enough. You have to be the best you can be. Now she was the one who wasn't good enough. She wasn't good enough to pay her bills. She wasn't good enough to take care of herself. She wasn't good enough to solve her own problems. The phone rang again. This time it was a number she didn't know. Hello, she said. Double quotes, Mrs. Williams. This is Dr. Patricia Moss from the cardiology office. We need to talk about your payment plan. Rosalind's heart started beating fast. What about it? You haven't made a payment in 2 months. We need to set up a new plan. Or we'll have to stop your treatment. I don't have the money right now. Mrs. Williams, you need this medicine. Without it, you could have another heart attack. Rosalind knew that. She knew she needed the medicine. But she also knew she couldn't pay for it. Can I call you back? She asked. Double quotes, Mrs. Williams. We really need to. Rosalind hung up the phone. She couldn't listen anymore. She couldn't think about it anymore. She walked to her bedroom and lay down on the bed. She pulled a blanket over her head and closed her eyes. Maybe if she slept, the problems would go away. Maybe if she slept, she would wake up and everything would be different. But when she woke up an hour later, the bills were still on the kitchen table. The phone was still ringing with calls from doctors and hospitals. The problems were still there. She walked to the mailbox to get her mail. There were more bills inside. But there was also something else, a white envelope with her name on it. There was no return address, no stamp. Someone had put it in her mailbox by hand. Rosalind opened the envelope. Inside was a single basketball card. She recognized it immediately. It was Michael's rookie card from 1986, his first year in the NBA. The card was worth a lot of money, but there was no note, no explanation, no message at all. Who would send me this? She wondered. She looked around the parking lot. Nobody was there. She looked at the envelope again. Just her name written in black ink. She took the card inside and put it on the kitchen table next to the medical bills. She stared at it for a long time. Young Michael smiled back at her from the card. He was wearing his Chicago Bulls uniform. He looked so happy, so full of hope. What does this mean? She asked the card, but the card didn't answer. It just sat there, a mystery in the middle of her troubles. Rosalind made herself a cup of tea and sat down at the table. She looked at the medical bills. She looked at the basketball card. She looked at the photo of her and Michael at graduation. Something's going to happen, she said to herself. I can feel it. She didn't know what. She didn't know when. But she knew that the basketball card meant something. Someone was trying to tell her something. Someone knew about her problems. But who? Outside, the sun was setting. The apartment was getting dark. But Rosalind didn't turn on the lights. She just sat at the table, holding the basketball card, wondering what it meant. The phone rang again. This time she didn't answer it. She just let it ring and ring until it stopped. Tomorrow she would have to deal with the bills. Tomorrow she would have to figure out what to do. But tonight, she would hold onto the mystery of the basketball card. Tonight, she would hope that someone, somewhere, was thinking about her. Someone who remembered the woman who had driven a young boy to basketball practice every day. Someone who remembered the woman who had believed in him when nobody else did. Someone who might just save her life. The next morning, Rosalind woke up thinking about the past. She couldn't stop thinking about Michael as a young boy. She couldn't stop thinking about how everything started. It was 1977. Michael was 14 years old. His father, James Jordan Sr., got a new job that made him travel a lot. His mother, Dolores, decided to go back to school to become a bank teller. They needed someone to take care of Michael while they were busy. That someone was Rosalind. She lived in a small house just 10 minutes from Laney High School in Wilmington. She worked in the school cafeteria, serving lunch to hundreds of kids. Every day, she had never married. She had never had children of her own. But when her brother James asked her to help with Michael, she said yes right away. "He's a good boy," James had told her. "He just needs someone to keep an eye on him. Make sure he does his homework. Make sure he stays out of trouble." But Michael was more than a good boy. He was special. Rosalind could see it from the first day he moved in with her. Every morning, she made him breakfast, eggs, toast, and orange juice. Every morning. He said thank you, Aunt Ross, and gave her a hug before school. Every afternoon, she picked him up from basketball practice, even when she was tired from working all day. Even when her feet hurt from standing in the cafeteria for 8 hours. Even when it was raining or cold or dark. Michael was quiet in those days. He wasn't the confident man he would become. He was just a tall, skinny kid who loved basketball more than anything else in the world. But loving basketball and being good at basketball were two different things. In the fall of 1978, Michael tried out for the varsity basketball team at Laney High School. He practiced for weeks. He ran every morning. He shot baskets every afternoon. He dreamed about wearing the team uniform. But when the list was posted, Michael's name wasn't on it. He had been cut from the team. Rosalind found him that night sitting on her front porch, crying. "Aunt Ross," he said, "maybe I'm not good enough. Maybe I should quit." Rosalind sat down next to him. She put her arm around his shoulders. "Child," she said, "good enough is not enough. You have to be better than good enough. You have to be the best you can be. But what if I can't be the best? Then you keep trying until you can. You don't quit. You never quit." That night, Michael made a decision. He would play on the junior varsity team. He would practice harder than anyone else. He would prove that the coaches were wrong. And Rosalind would help him. Every day that summer, she drove him to the school gym. Every day, she waited in the car while he practiced. Every day, she brought him water and a snack when he was done. When his basketball shoes fell apart, she bought him new ones. She used money from her grocery budget. That week, they ate soup and crackers for dinner. But Michael had new shoes. When the coach said Michael needed to go to basketball camp, Rosalind found a way to pay for it. She worked extra shifts in the cafeteria. She cleaned houses on weekends. She did whatever it took. "Aunt Ross, you don't have to do all this for me," Michael said one day. "Yes, I do," she replied, "because I believe in you. And when you believe in someone, you do whatever it takes to help them succeed." Michael made the varsity team the next year. Then he got a scholarship to the University of North Carolina. Then he was drafted by the Chicago Bulls. Then he became the most famous basketball player in the world. But through all of it, Rosalind was there. At his high school games, at his college graduation, at his first NBA game. Always in the background, always proud, always supporting him. Now, in 2024, Rosalind sat in her small apartment looking at old photos. There was Michael with his first trophy. There was Michael at his high school graduation. There was Michael holding his first NBA championship ring. In every photo, she was there. Sometimes you could see her clearly. Sometimes she was just a face in the crowd. But she was always there. She picked up her phone and scrolled through her contacts. Michael's number was there. She could call him right now. She could tell him about the medical bills. She could ask for help. But she couldn't do it. Michael sent her a birthday card every year. He called her on Christmas. He called her once a month just to talk. But their conversations were always short. He was busy. He had meetings. He had places to be. She never told him about her problems. She never told him that her Social Security check wasn't enough. She never told him that she sometimes skipped meals to save money. She never told him that she was scared and alone and didn't know what to do. She was too proud, and she was too afraid that he would see her as a burden. He's done enough for this family, she said to herself. He doesn't need to worry about me, too. But as she looked at the photos, she remembered something Michael had said to her years ago. It was after he won his first championship with the Chicago Bulls. He was holding the trophy, surrounded by reporters and cameras. None of this would have happened without Aunt Ross, he had said. She's the one who drove me to practice every day. She's the one who believed in me when I didn't believe in myself. She's the one who taught me to never give up. At the time, Rosalind had been embarrassed by all the attention. She didn't want to be on TV. She didn't want people talking about her. She just wanted to be proud of her nephew. But now, sitting in her apartment with a stack of medical bills, she wondered if Michael really meant what he said. Did he really think she was important? Did he really remember everything she had done for him? Or was it just something nice to say for the cameras? Her phone rang. It was Dr. Patricia Moss again. "Mrs. Williams, we really need to talk about your payment plan." This time, Rosalind didn't hang up. "Doctor, I don't have the money. I can't pay for the medicine. I can't pay for anything. Mrs. Williams, without this medicine, you could have another heart attack. You could die. I know that. But I can't pay for something I don't have money for." There was silence on the phone. Then Dr. Moss said something that surprised Rosalind. "Mrs. Williams, do you have any family? Anyone who could help you?" Rosalind thought about Michael. She thought about his success, his money, his big house in Chicago. "No," she said, "I don't have anyone." After she hung up, Rosalind felt terrible about lying. But it wasn't really a lie, was it? Yes, she had family, but she couldn't ask them for help. She wouldn't ask them for help. She picked up the basketball card again. Michael's young face smiled at her from the card. He looked so hopeful, so full of dreams. "Who sent you to me?" she asked the card. And why? Outside her window, she could see kids playing basketball in the parking lot. They reminded her of Michael at that age, full of energy, full of hope, full of dreams they thought would never come true. But sometimes dreams do come true. Sometimes that tall, skinny kid becomes the greatest basketball player who ever lived. Sometimes the woman who believed in him gets forgotten. Rosalind put the card down and walked to her bedroom. She opened her closet and pulled out a box. Inside were more photos, more memories, more pieces of the past. There was a letter Michael had written to her from college. "Dear Aunt Ross, thank you for everything you've done for me. I will never forget you." There was a program from his first NBA game. He had written on it, "To Aunt Ross, the best aunt in the world." There were newspaper clippings from his championship wins. In one of them, he was quoted as saying, "My Aunt Rosalind taught me that success isn't about giving up when things get hard. It's about working harder when everyone else thinks you should quit." As she read these old memories, Rosalind felt a mix of pride and sadness. Pride because she had helped create something beautiful. Sadness because that beautiful thing seemed so far away now. She put the box away and went back to the kitchen. The medical bills were still there. The basketball card was still there. The problems were still there. But now she felt something else. A small spark of hope. Maybe someone did remember her. Maybe someone did care. Maybe the person who sent the basketball card was trying to tell her something. Maybe she wasn't as forgotten as she thought. 200 miles away in Charlotte, North Carolina, Michael Jordan sat in his office at the Charlotte Hornets arena. He was looking at papers about the team, but his mind was somewhere else. He was thinking about his last phone call with Aunt Ross. Something had been wrong. He could hear it in her voice. She sounded tired, more tired than usual. And when he asked how she was doing, she paused too long before saying fine. Michael knew that pause. He had heard it before when he was young and worried about something. It was the pause people make when they want to tell the truth but can't. "Marcus," he called to his assistant. "Come in here." Marcus Thompson walked into the office. He was 35 years old and had worked for Michael for 5 years. He was smart, loyal, and good at solving problems. "What can I do for you, Mr. Jordan?" "I need you to drive to Wilmington. I need you to check on my Aunt Rosalind. Is everything okay?" "I don't know. That's what I need you to find out. But don't tell her I sent you. Just say you were in the neighborhood and wanted to visit." Marcus had met Rosalind before. Michael talked about her all the time. He called her one of the most important people in his life. Marcus knew she had helped raise Michael when he was young. "What should I look for?" Marcus asked. "I don't know exactly. Just to see if she's okay. Really okay. Not just what she says, but what you can see." An hour later, Marcus was driving down Highway 74 toward Wilmington. He had called ahead and told Rosalind he was coming to visit. She sounded surprised but happy. When he arrived at her apartment complex, Marcus noticed it was older than he expected. The buildings needed paint. The parking lot had cracks in it. This wasn't the kind of place he thought Michael Jordan's family would live. He knocked on Rosalind's door. When she opened it, Marcus was shocked. She looked thinner than the last time he saw her. Her clothes seemed too big. Her face looked tired. "Marcus, what a nice surprise. Come in, come in." The apartment was small and cold. Marcus could see his breath when he talked. "Mrs. Williams, is your heater working?" "Oh, it works fine. I just like to keep it cool. Save money on the electric bill, you know." But Marcus could tell she was lying. It was 50 degrees outside. No one would keep their house this cold on purpose. They sat at her kitchen table and talked. Rosalind asked about Michael, about the team, about Marcus's family. She was interested in everything. But Marcus noticed she didn't talk much about herself. He also noticed other things. There was a stack of mail on the table that she kept trying to cover with her hand. Most of it looked like bills. Her medicine bottles on the counter were almost empty. Her refrigerator seemed too quiet, like maybe it wasn't working very well. "Mrs. Williams, how have you been feeling? Michael mentioned you had some health issues." "I'm fine, just getting older. You know, nothing serious." But when she said it, she touched her chest, just for a second, like it hurt. "Do you need anything?" "Michael always wants to make sure you have everything you need. That boy has done enough for this family. I don't need anything from him. I can take care of myself." There was pride in her voice. But there was also something else. Fear, maybe, or sadness. Marcus stayed for an hour. When he left, he told Rosalind to call if she needed anything. She smiled and said she would. But he knew she wouldn't. On the drive back to Charlotte, Marcus called Michael. "How is she?" Michael asked. "She says she's fine. But Mr. Jordan, I don't think she is." "What do you mean?" "Her apartment is freezing cold. She looks like she's lost weight. She's got a pile of mail that looks like bills, and she won't accept any help." Michael was quiet for a long time. Then he said, "Find out what's really going on. But be careful. Don't let her know you're asking questions." The next day, Marcus drove back to Wilmington, but this time he didn't visit Rosalind. Instead, he talked to her neighbors. Mrs. Dorothy Chen lived across the hall from Rosalind. She was happy to talk to Marcus. "Oh, Rosalind is such a sweet woman, but I worry about her." "Why do you worry? She's been very quiet lately. I offer to help her with groceries, but she always says no. Last week, I saw her walking to the store in the rain because her car wouldn't start." "Does she talk about her family?" "She talks about her nephew Michael all the time. She's so proud of him. But she never asks him for help with anything. She says he's too busy." Mrs. Chen told Marcus something that made his heart sink. "Last month, I saw her at the grocery store. She was looking at medicine in the pharmacy, but then she put it back and left without buying anything. I think maybe she can't afford it." Marcus thanked Mrs. Chen and drove to the hospital. He told them he was calling for Michael Jordan about his aunt's medical bills. The person on the phone was excited to talk to someone from Michael Jordan's office. "Oh yes, Mrs. Williams. She had heart surgery 3 months ago. The bills are quite high. We've been trying to work with her on a payment plan, but she hasn't been able to make any payments." "How high are the bills?" $47,000. Plus the ongoing cost of her heart medicine, which is about $300 a month. Marcus felt sick. $47,000. That was more money than most people made in a year. And Rosalind was trying to handle it alone. Has she applied for any financial assistance programs? We offered to help her apply, but she said she could handle it herself. She seemed too proud to accept help. After he hung up, Marcus sat in his car in the hospital parking lot. He thought about Rosalind, alone in her cold apartment, choosing between food and medicine. He thought about Michael, who had more money than he could ever spend, not knowing that the woman who raised him was struggling. But then Marcus realized something strange. Someone else had been asking questions about Rosalind. Actually, the hospital worker had said, "You're the second person to call about Mrs. Williams this week." Someone else called asking about her bills too. Who was it? They didn't give their name, just said they were family and wanted to know about her situation. Marcus was confused. Who else would be asking about Rosalind? Michael had other family members. But why would they call the hospital? He drove to Rosalind's doctor's office. Dr. Patricia Moss agreed to talk to him. Double quotes, Mrs. Williams is in a very difficult situation. Dr. Moss said, she needs her heart medicine every day. Without it, she could have another heart attack. But she can't afford it. Has anyone else asked about her situation? Yes, actually, someone came to the office last week. A man. He said he was her nephew and wanted to know about her condition. He was very concerned about her. What did he look like? Tall. Military bearing. He said his name was James. Marcus knew that name. James Jordan Jr. was Michael's older brother. He was in the army. But why would he be asking about Rosalind without telling Michael? Marcus called Michael from his car. Mr. Jordan, I found out what's wrong. Your aunt has $47,000 in medical bills from heart surgery. She can't afford her medicine. She's choosing between food and her medication. Michael was quiet for a long time. When he spoke, his voice was angry. Why didn't she tell me? She's too proud. She doesn't want to be a burden. A burden? She raised me. She sacrificed everything for me. How could she think she'd be a burden? There's something else. Someone else has been asking questions about her. Someone named James. James, my brother James. The doctor said he came to her office last week. He said he was her nephew and wanted to know about her condition. Michael was confused. James didn't tell me he was checking on Aunt Ross. Why would he do that without telling me? I don't know, but it seems like more than one person is worried about her. After Marcus hung up, he sat in his car thinking. Someone had sent Rosalind that basketball card. Someone else was asking questions about her medical bills. Someone was investigating her situation. But who? And why were they doing it in secret? Marcus drove back to Rosalind's apartment complex. He parked across the street and watched. He wanted to see if anyone else was checking on her. After an hour, a car pulled into the parking lot. A tall man in military uniform got out. He walked to Rosalind's building and went inside. Marcus took a photo of the man's license plate and ran it through a database. The car was registered to James Jordan Jr. Stationed at Fort Liberty in North Carolina. So Michael's brother was visiting Rosalind. But he wasn't telling Michael about it. Marcus called Michael again. Your brother is at your aunt's apartment right now. But he never told you he was checking on her. No, he didn't. What's going on? Marcus, why is everyone keeping secrets? I don't know, but I think we need to find out. Marcus waited in his car until James came out of the building. James looked worried. He got in his car and drove away quickly. Something was happening. Multiple people were concerned about Rosalind. Multiple people were investigating her situation. But none of them were talking to each other. Marcus had one more idea. He called the sports memorabilia shop in Charlotte where the basketball card might have come from. Yes. Someone bought a 1986 Michael Jordan rookie card last week. The shop owner said, paid cash, asked specifically for a card that would be meaningful to Michael Jordan's family. What did the person look like? I'm not sure. They wore sunglasses and a hat, but they knew a lot about Michael Jordan's family. They asked about his aunt specifically. Marcus hung up and stared at his notes. Someone was trying to help Rosalind. Someone who knew about her situation. Someone who cared enough to send her Michael's rookie card as a message. But who, and what were they planning to do? Marcus called Michael one more time. Mr. Jordan, something bigger is going on here. Your aunt is in trouble. But she's not alone. Someone else is trying to help her. The question is, who? That evening, Michael sat in his office staring at his phone. He had been thinking about Marcus's words all day. Someone else was trying to help Aunt Ross. But who? He thought about his brother James. Why would James visit Aunt Ross without telling him? They talked every week. James always told him everything. Michael picked up his phone and called James's number. Hey, little brother. James answered. What's going on, James? I need to ask you something. Have you been to see Aunt Ross lately? There was silence on the phone. Michael could hear James breathing, but he wasn't saying anything. James, yeah, I've been to see her. Why didn't you tell me? Because she made me promise not to. Michael felt confused and hurt. What do you mean, Mike? Can I come see you? This isn't something we should talk about on the phone. 2 hours later, James Jordan Jr. was sitting in Michael's office. He was 47 years old, tall like Michael, but more serious. He had been in the Army for 25 years. He was a sergeant major stationed at Fort Liberty, about an hour from Wilmington. "I was visiting Aunt Ross 2 weeks ago," James said. "Just a regular visit. But I noticed something was wrong." "What kind of wrong?" She looked thin. Her apartment was cold. "And when I went to get her a glass of water, I saw her medicine bottles were almost empty." James told Michael what happened next. He had asked Aunt Ross about her medicine. At first, she said everything was fine, but when he kept asking, she started crying. "She broke down and told me everything," James said. "The heart surgery, the bills, the medicine she can't afford. She told me she was choosing between food and her medication." Michael felt angry and sad at the same time. "Why didn't she tell me?" "That's what I asked her. You know what she said?" "What?" "She said, Michael has done enough for this family. He has his own problems. The team, his businesses, his kids. I won't be a burden." Michael put his head in his hands. "She could never be a burden. She raised me. She sacrificed everything for me. I know that. You know that. But she doesn't know that." James explained that he had tried to give Aunt Ross money that day. He offered to pay her medical bills, but she refused. "She got upset with me," James said. "She said she didn't want charity from anyone. She said she would figure it out herself, but she can't figure it out herself. She doesn't have enough money." "I know. That's why I made her promise not to tell you about our conversation." Michael looked confused. "Why would you do that?" "Because I knew you'd want to help her right away. You'd want to pay all her bills and fix everything. But she's too proud for that. She'd say no. And then she'd be embarrassed that you knew about her problems." James was right. Michael would have wanted to fix everything immediately. That's how he solved problems. He threw money at them until they went away. "So what did you do?" "I started investigating. I went to her doctor. I went to the hospital. I found out exactly how much money she needs." "How much?" $47,000 for the surgery bills, $300 a month for medicine, plus she needs a new car because hers is breaking down. And her apartment needs repairs." Michael was quiet for a moment. Then he said, "That's not very much money. For you, it's not much money. For her, it's everything." James pulled out a folder from his briefcase. "I've been working on a plan. A way to help her without hurting her pride." He showed Michael papers from the hospital, from her doctor, from her bank. He had been investigating Aunt Ross's situation for 2 weeks. "I was going to call you after I figured everything out," James said. "I wanted to have a complete plan before we talked." "What kind of plan?" "She needs help. But she needs to feel like she's earning it. She needs to feel valuable, not like charity." Michael understood. Aunt Ross had always been independent. She had always taken care of herself. She wouldn't accept help unless she felt like she deserved it. "So what do we do?" "I have some ideas. But first, I need to tell you something else." James looked uncomfortable. "Someone else has been asking questions about Aunt Ross." "What do you mean?" "When I went to the hospital, they told me someone else had called asking about her bills. When I went to her doctor's office, they said someone else had been there asking about her condition." "Who?" "They wouldn't tell me, but they said it was someone claiming to be family." Michael thought about this. Could it be someone from Mom and Dad's side of the family? "I don't think so. This person knew details about Aunt Ross's relationship with you. They knew about the basketball card." "What basketball card?" James looked surprised. "You don't know about the basketball card?" "What basketball card?" "Someone sent Aunt Ross your 1986 rookie card. No note, no explanation, just the card." Michael felt confused. "I didn't send her any card." "I figured you didn't. That's another mystery we need to solve." James showed Michael more papers. He had been to the sports memorabilia shop where the card was purchased. He had talked to Aunt Ross's neighbors. He had done a complete investigation. Whoever sent that card knows about Aunt Ross's situation. They know about her relationship with you. And they're trying to send her a message. "What kind of message?" "I think they're trying to tell her that she's not forgotten, that someone remembers how important she was to your success." Michael thought about all the times he had talked publicly about Aunt Ross, in interviews, in speeches, in documentaries. He always mentioned her. He always said she was one of the most important people in his life. Maybe it's someone who heard me talk about her, Michael said. Maybe. But who would care enough to get involved? James had one more piece of information. I talked to the neighbors. Mrs. Chen, the lady across the hall, said someone else has been asking questions about Aunt Ross. What kind of questions? About her health, about her family, about whether she needs help. But this person was careful not to give their name. Michael was starting to understand. Multiple people were investigating Aunt Ross's situation. His brother James was one of them. His assistant Marcus was another. But there was at least one more person they didn't know about. James, do you think this other person is trying to help her too? I think so. The basketball card seems like a way of saying you're not forgotten, and asking questions about her health seems like someone who cares. But why do it in secret? Maybe for the same reason I'm doing it in secret. Maybe they know she's too proud to accept help directly. Michael stood up and walked to his window. He could see the Charlotte Hornets arena from his office. He thought about all the games he had played, all the championships he had won, all the success he had achieved. None of it would have happened without Aunt Ross. James, I need to help her. I don't care about her pride. I don't care if she gets mad at me. She's family. I know, but we have to be smart about it. We have to find a way that lets her keep her dignity. What do you suggest? James opened his folder again. I have some ideas. But first, we need to figure out who else is trying to help her. We need to know if we're working with them or against them. How do we do that? We watch. We wait. We see who shows up. Michael didn't like waiting. He wanted to act now. He wanted to pay all of Aunt Ross's bills today. He wanted to buy her new car tomorrow. He wanted to fix everything immediately. But James was right. They needed to be careful. They needed to think about Aunt Ross's feelings, not just her problems. There's one more thing, James said. I think we should tell the rest of the family. Mom and Dad should know what's going on. Do you think they'll want to help? Of course they will. Aunt Ross helped raise you. She's part of this family. We take care of family. Michael nodded. Okay, but we still need to figure out who else is investigating her situation. This mystery person might be an ally, or they might be someone with bad intentions. How do we find out? We do what you suggested. We watch and wait, and we see who shows up next. As James left that evening, Michael sat alone in his office thinking. Aunt Ross was in trouble. His family was rallying to help her, but there was still someone else out there. Someone who cared enough to send her a basketball card and ask questions about her health. Who was this person? And what did they want? Michael had a feeling he was about to find out. Michael couldn't sleep that night. He kept thinking about Aunt Ross sitting alone in her cold apartment, counting pills, choosing between food and medicine. He kept thinking about all the years she had taken care of him, and how he had failed to take care of her. At 6 in the morning, he called James. I have an idea, Michael said without saying hello. It's 6 in the morning, Mike. I know what time it is. Listen to me. I want to create a story, something that will let Aunt Ross accept help without feeling like charity. James was quiet for a moment. What kind of story? A basketball memorabilia auction. I'll tell her I'm selling some of my old stuff, and the money is going to people who helped me during my career. That's not a bad idea, but it has to sound real. It will sound real because part of it will be real. I'll actually auction some things, but I'll make sure the money goes to people like Aunt Ross. Michael explained his plan. He would tell Aunt Ross that he was having an auction of basketball items from his career. Jerseys, shoes, trophies, personal items. He would say the money was going to a list of people who had helped him become successful. She'll be on the list, Michael said, along with coaches, teammates, families, people from North Carolina. It won't seem like charity. It will seem like saying thank you. How much money are you talking about? Michael had been thinking about this. $50,000 for her. Mike, that might be too much. She'll know something's up. It's not too much for what she did for me. She gave me 3 years of her life. She used her own money to help me succeed. $50,000 is nothing compared to what she gave me. James thought about it. Okay, but you have to sell it right. You have to make her believe it's real. It will be real. I'll actually have an auction. I'll actually sell things. But I'll make sure she gets what she needs. That afternoon, Michael called Aunt Ross. Aunt Ross, I have some news to share with you. What kind of news, Michael? I'm having an auction. Some of my old basketball stuff, jerseys, shoes, trophies from my playing days. Why are you selling your things? Because I want to do something special. The money from the auction is going to people who helped me when I was young. People who made my career possible. That sounds wonderful, Michael. Who's on your list? Well, you are. There was silence on the phone. Then Rosalind said, Michael, I don't need any money. This isn't about need. This is about saying thank you. You drove me to practice for 3 years. You fed me, housed me, supported me. You believed in me when nobody else did. Michael, I was just doing what family does. And now I'm doing what family does. I'm saying thank you. Michael could hear Aunt Ross crying softly on the phone. How much money are we talking about? She asked. $50,000. Aunt Ross gasped. Michael, that's too much. I can't accept that. You have to accept it. It's already decided. Auction is next week. The money will be in your account by Friday. Michael, I don't deserve this. You deserve more than this. You deserve everything I have. You made me who I am. After he hung up, Michael felt better than he had in days. But he still had work to do. He needed to make the auction story believable. And he needed to figure out who else was trying to help. Aunt Ross thought he called Ahmad Rashad, his old friend who worked in sports memorabilia. Ahmad, I need your help with something. Anything for you, Mike. What do you need? I want to have a real auction. Basketball items from my career, but I want it to be small, private, just enough to make a story believable. Ahmad was confused. What kind of story? Michael explained about Aunt Ross, about her medical bills, about her pride. Ahmad understood immediately. I can set up a private auction, Ahmad said. We'll get some serious collectors. They'll pay good money for your stuff. Perfect. But I need something else. I need to know about a 1986 Michael Jordan rookie card that was sold in Charlotte 2 weeks ago. What about it? Someone bought it and sent it to my aunt? No note, no explanation. I need to know who. Ahmad said he would investigate. I'll call Brown, see what I can find out. While Ahmad worked on the card mystery, Michael started his own investigation. He called the hospital where Aunt Ross had her surgery. This is Michael Jordan's office. He said, we're calling about Rosalind Williams, Mr. Jordan's aunt. Oh yes, we're so excited to hear from Mr. Jordan's office. How can we help? We understand Mrs. Williams has some outstanding bills from her recent surgery. Yes. And fortunately, the bills total $47,000. We've been trying to work with her on a payment plan, but she's been unable to make payments. Mr. Jordan would like to take care of those bills. That's wonderful. Should we send the paperwork to your office? Yes. And please don't tell Mrs. Williams yet. Mr. Jordan wants to surprise her. After he hung up, Michael called Dr. Patricia Moss, Aunt Ross's cardiologist. Dr. Moss, this is Michael Jordan. I'm calling about my aunt, Rosalind Williams. Dr. Moss was surprised and excited. Mr. Jordan, I'm a huge fan. Your aunt is such a sweet woman. I understand she needs expensive heart medicine. Yes, she does. About $300 a month for the rest of her life. Without it, she could have another heart attack. I'd like to set up a trust fund to pay for her medicine permanently. That would be wonderful. She's been trying to stretch her pills to make them last longer. It's very dangerous. Michael felt sick hearing that. Aunt Ross was risking her life to save money. I'll have my lawyer set up the trust fund today. Please don't tell her yet. Of course not. Michael spent the rest of the day making arrangements. He paid all of Aunt Ross's medical bills. He set up a trust fund for her medicine. He arranged for a grocery delivery service to bring food to her apartment every week. He hired a cleaning service to come twice a week. But he did it all secretly. He didn't want Aunt Ross to know how much he was really doing. That evening, Ahmad called back. I found out about the basketball card, Ahmad said. What? Did you learn? It was bought at Sports Legends in Charlotte. The person paid cash, wore sunglasses and a hat, but the shop owner remembered something interesting. What? The buyer asked specifically for a card that would be meaningful to Michael Jordan's family. Hey. Knew about your aunt. They knew about her relationship with you. Did they give a name? No. But they left something behind. What? They dropped a business card. The shop owner found it after they left. Michael felt excited. What kind of business card? It's from a law firm in Charlotte, Davidson, Morrison, and Associates. Michael wrote down the name. I'll check it out. There's something else, Mike. The person asked about your aunt specifically. They wanted to know if she had any connection to your early career. What did the shop owner tell them? He told them about the stories you've shared in interviews, about how she drove you to practice, how she supported you when you were young. After Ahmad hung up, Michael sat in his office thinking. Someone from a law firm had bought the basketball card. Someone who knew about Aunt Ross's importance to his career. Someone who cared enough to send her a message. But who and why? Michael looked up Davidson, Morrison, and Associates online. It was a family law firm that specialized in wills, estates, and family matters, but none of the names looked familiar to him. He decided to call them Davidson, Morrison, and Associates. Receptionist answered, "This is Michael Jordan. Someone from your firm may have been asking questions about my aunt, Rosalind Williams." "My goodness, Mr. Jordan, let me transfer you to Mr. Davidson." A few minutes later, an older man came on the phone. "Mr. Jordan, this is Robert Davidson. I'm honored to speak with you. Mr. Davidson, someone from your firm bought a basketball card and sent it to my aunt. I'd like to know who and why." "I'm sorry, Mr. Jordan, but I don't know anything about a basketball card." "Are you sure the business card was from our firm? The shop owner found your business card after someone bought my rookie card. That's very strange. None of our lawyers have mentioned anything about this." Michael was confused. "Could someone have used your business card without your knowledge?" "I suppose it's possible. But why would they do that? I don't know. But someone is trying to help my aunt, and I need to find out who." Mr. Davidson promised to ask his staff about the basketball card, but Michael had a feeling the trail would lead nowhere. Someone was being very careful to stay hidden. Someone who knew about Aunt Ross, who cared about her situation, but who didn't want to be identified. Michael hung up the phone and looked at his calendar. The fake auction was scheduled for next week. Aunt Ross would get her money, her bills would be paid, her medicine would be covered, but the mystery of who else was trying to help her remained unsolved, and Michael had a feeling that mystery was about to become very important. 3 days before the fake auction, Rosalind was sitting in her apartment trying to understand what was happening to her life. Everything seemed to be changing, but she didn't know why. Yesterday, her medicine bottles had been mysteriously refilled. She hadn't ordered new medicine. She hadn't paid for new medicine. But when she opened her mailbox, there was a package from the pharmacy with a full month's supply. This morning, a grocery delivery truck had arrived at her door. The driver said the groceries were already paid for and would be delivered every week. When Rosalind said there must be a mistake, the driver showed her a receipt with her name and address. And last night, 2 women had knocked on her door saying they were from a cleaning service. They said they were scheduled to clean her apartment twice a week. When Rosalind said she hadn't hired them, they showed her a work order with her address. "Someone is taking care of you, Mrs. Williams," one of the women had said. "Someone who cares about you very much." Rosalind was confused and worried. Who was doing all this, and why? She thought about the basketball card that had started everything. She thought about Michael's phone call about the auction. She thought about all the strange things happening around her. Someone was watching her. Someone was helping her. But she didn't know who. At 2 o'clock in the afternoon, someone knocked on her door. Rosalind looked through the peephole and saw a woman she recognized but hadn't seen in years. It was Juanita Vanoy, Michael's ex-wife. Rosalind opened the door, surprised. "Juanita, what a wonderful surprise." Juanita was carrying flowers and a basket of food. She smiled warmly at Rosalind. "Mrs. Williams, I hope you don't mind me stopping by. I was in the area and wanted to see how you were doing." "Of course I don't mind. Come in, come in. You look wonderful." Juanita had always been kind to Rosalind, even after she and Michael divorced. She was the mother of Michael's 3 children, Jeffrey, Marcus, and Jasmine. Rosalind had always thought of her as family. They sat in the living room drinking tea. Juanita asked about Rosalind's health, about her apartment, about her life. She seemed genuinely interested and caring. Double quotes, Mrs. Williams, you look like you've lost some weight. Are you eating enough? Rosalind was touched by the concern. I'm fine, dear. Just getting older. You know, and your apartment feels a little cold. Is your heater working? Yes, it works fine. I just like to keep it cool. Juanita smiled gently. Mrs. Williams, can I ask you something? Are you doing okay financially? The question surprised Rosalind. She felt her face get warm. Why do you ask? Because I know you. You're too proud to ask for help. You're the kind of person who would go without medicine before you'd ask anyone for money. Rosalind felt tears start to form in her eyes. How did Juanita know? Juanita. It's okay. You can tell me. I'm family too. And suddenly, Rosalind couldn't hold it in anymore. She started crying and told Juanita everything. The heart surgery, the medical bills, the medicine she couldn't afford, the choices between food and medication. I had no idea where to turn. Rosalind said through her tears. I can't ask Michael for help. He has his own problems. Juanita moved to sit next to Rosalind on the couch. She put her arm around her shoulders. Mrs. Williams, have you told Michael about any of this? I can't. He has his businesses, the team, his children. I won't be a burden. Mrs. Williams, you could never be a burden to Michael. You're the most important person in his life after his children. You raised him. You made him who he is. Juanita reached into her purse and pulled out a tissue for Rosalind. Can I tell you something? Juanita said. I've been quietly helping people in Michael's life for years. What do you mean? His high school coach, Coach Lynch, had medical bills a few years ago. I paid them. Rosalind looked surprised. You did? Michael's old teammate from North Carolina, James Worthy. His mother needed help with her house repairs. I took care of it. Why would you do that? Because these people are important to Michael. And because I know it's what Michael would want me to do, even if he doesn't know I'm doing it. Juanita explained that she had been watching out for people in Michael's life since their divorce. She had money from their settlement, and she wanted to use it to help people who had helped Michael. I do it because I know these people are important to him, Juanita said, and because helping them is a way of showing love for Michael and our children. Rosalind was amazed. You've been doing this for years? Yes. And Mrs. Williams, you're the most important person on that list. I am. Michael talks about you all the time. When he's with the kids, he tells them stories about you. He tells them about the woman who drove him to practice every day, the woman who believed in him when nobody else did. He does, all the time. He says you're the reason he never gave up on basketball. He says you taught him that love means showing up every day, even when it's hard. Rosalind felt a warmth in her heart that she hadn't felt in months. Michael still talked about her. He still remembered what she had done for him. Juanita, are you the one who's been helping me? The medicine, the groceries, the cleaning service? Juanita smiled. Some of it, yes, but not all of it. What do you mean? Someone else has been asking questions about you too. Someone else cares about your situation. Who? I don't know for sure, but someone sent you a basketball card, didn't they? Rosalind nodded. Michael's rookie card, but there was no note. That wasn't me, but I think I know what it means. What? It means you're not forgotten. It means someone remembers how important you were to Michael's success. It means someone wants you to know that you matter. Juanita stood up and walked to the window. She looked out at the parking lot. Mrs. Williams, can I ask you something else? Do you remember when Michael won his first championship with the Bulls? Of course. 1991. I was so proud. Do you remember what he said in the interview after the game? Rosalind thought for a moment. He said a lot of things. He said, none of this would have happened without Aunt Ross. She's the one who drove me to practice every day. She's the one who believed in me when I didn't believe in myself. I remember that. Mrs. Williams, he meant every word. You're not just his aunt. You're his hero. Juanita sat back down next to Rosalind. I need to tell you something. Michael doesn't know I'm here today, but I think he suspects that someone is helping you. Why do you think that? Because he's been asking questions too. His assistant called the hospital. Someone from his office has been to your doctor. He knows something is wrong. Rosalind felt scared. I don't want him to know about my problems. Why not? Because I don't want him to feel obligated to help me. I don't want him to feel guilty. Juanita took Rosalind's hands in hers. Mrs. Williams, Michael doesn't help people because he feels obligated. He helps people because he loves them. And he loves you more than almost anyone in the world. But he has so many other responsibilities. Yes, he does. But you're not a responsibility. Your family. You're the woman who made his success possible. Juanita reached into her purse again and pulled out an envelope. I was going to wait to give you this, but I think now is the right time. She handed the envelope to Rosalind. Open it. Inside was a check for $10,000. Juanita, I can't accept this. Yes, you can. It's not charity. It's a thank you. Thank you for raising the father of my children. Thank you for teaching him how to work hard and never give up. Thank you for making him the man I fell in love with. Rosalind started crying again. Juanita, this is too much. It's not enough. Nothing could ever be enough to repay what you did for Michael. But it's a start. They sat together for a while, holding hands, not saying anything. Finally, Juanita spoke. Mrs. Williams, I think Michael is going to contact you soon about your situation. When he does, please don't push him away. Let him help you. Let him show you how much you mean to him. How do you know he's going to contact me? Because I know Michael. He won't let someone he loves struggle alone. Especially not you. After Juanita left, Rosalind sat in her living room holding the check. She felt overwhelmed by everything that was happening. Michael's ex-wife had been secretly helping people in his life for years. Someone had sent her mysterious basketball card. Michael was planning an auction that would give her money. And now she knew that Michael still talked about her. He still remembered what she had done for him. He still thought she was important. For the first time in months, Rosalind felt like she wasn't alone. She felt like people cared about her. She felt like she mattered, but she also felt confused. If Juanita hadn't sent the basketball card, who had? Who else was watching out for her? Who else remembered the woman who had driven a young Michael Jordan to practice every day? The day of the fake auction arrived. Michael woke up early, nervous about the phone call he would make to Aunt Ross. He had never lied to her before, but he knew this lie was necessary. It was the only way to help her while letting her keep her pride. At 10 o'clock in the morning, he called her. Aunt Ross, I have great news about the auction. How did it go, Michael? It was amazing. People really wanted my stuff. They paid much more than I expected. Michael could hear the excitement in her voice. That's wonderful. So proud of you for doing this. The money is being transferred to your account right now. $50,000. Michael, I still don't feel right about this. There's something else, Aunt Ross. Someone at the auction wanted to meet you. Meet me? Who? Someone who bid on one of my jerseys specifically because they heard your story. My story. About how you helped me when I was young. About how you sacrificed for me. About how you never asked for anything in return. Michael paused. This was the moment he had been planning for days. This person wants to visit you today. They want to thank you personally. Michael, I don't understand. Who is this person? Someone very special to me. Someone who wants to show you how much your sacrifices meant. When are they coming? In about an hour. After he hung up, Michael felt nervous and excited. He had rented a car so Aunt Ross wouldn't recognize his usual vehicle. He had asked Marcus to wait nearby in case he needed help. Everything was ready. An hour later, Michael stood outside Aunt Ross's apartment door. His heart was beating fast. He knocked softly. Coming, he heard her call from inside. When the door opened, Rosalind saw Michael standing there with a huge smile on his face. Surprise, he said. Rosalind's hands flew to her mouth. She started crying immediately. Michael, what are you doing here? I came to see you. I came to thank you. I came to tell you something very important. She threw her arms around him and hugged him tight. Oh, Michael, I can't believe you're here. They went inside and sat in her living room, the same living room where he used to do his homework after basketball practice 30 years ago. And Ross, I need to tell you something. There was no auction. What? I made it up. There was no auction, no bidders, no jersey sale. Rosalind looked confused and hurt. Michael, why would you lie to me? Because I knew you wouldn't accept help any other way. Because I know you too well. You're too proud to take charity, even from me. Michael, you didn't have to lie to me. Yes, I did. Because I love you too much to let you struggle alone. Michael pulled out a folder from his briefcase. And Ross, I know about everything. The heart surgery, the medical bills, the medicine you can't afford, the choices you've been making between food and medication. Rosalind felt embarrassed and scared. How do you know about that? Because people who love you have been watching out for you. James has been checking on you. My assistant Marcus has been investigating. Juanita has been helping you. You know about all of that. I know about all of it. And I know why you didn't tell me. Michael moved closer to her on the couch. You thought you would be a burden. You thought I was too busy to care. You thought I had forgotten about you. Rosalind nodded, tears streaming down her face. And Ross, let me tell you something. You could never be a burden. You are the most important person in my life besides my children. Michael opened the folder and showed her papers. I've paid all your medical bills. Every penny. They're gone. Michael, that's too much money. It's not enough money. Not for what you did for me. He showed her more papers. I've set up a trust fund to pay for your heart medicine for the rest of your life. You'll never have to choose between medicine and food again. Michael, I don't deserve this. You deserve everything. You gave me everything when I had nothing. Michael pulled out a photo. It was the two of them at his high school graduation. She was wearing her best dress, and he was wearing his cap and gown. I keep this picture in my office in Charlotte. When people ask me about my success, I tell them about you. You do. I tell them about the woman who drove me to practice every day for 3 years. The woman who used her grocery money to buy me basketball shoes. The woman who worked double shifts to pay for my basketball camp. Michael's voice got emotional. I tell them about the woman who told me that good enough is not enough. The woman who taught me to never give up. The woman who believed in me when I didn't believe in myself. Rosalind was crying hard now. Michael, I just did what anyone would do. No, you didn't. You did what love looks like. You showed me that. Success isn't about money or fame. Success is about how you treat the people who need you. Michael stood up and walked to the window. He looked out at the parking lot where kids were playing basketball. Do you see those kids playing basketball? Yes, they remind me of myself at that age, full of dreams but scared they'll never come true. He turned back to face her. You made my dreams come true. Not because you gave me talent, because you gave me something more important. You gave me love that never quit. Michael sat back down and took her hands. And Ross, I have one more surprise for you. Michael, you've done too much already. This isn't about money. This is about family. He pulled out his phone and called someone. You can come up now, he said. A few minutes later, there was a knock at the door. Michael opened it, and 3 young adults walked in. And Ross, I want you to meet my children. Jeffrey Jordan, 28 years old, walked in first. Then Marcus Jordan, 26. Then Jasmine Jordan, 24. Rosalind had seen them in pictures, but she had never spent real time with them. We've heard so much about you, Jasmine said, giving Rosalind a hug. Dad talks about you all the time. Marcus added. He says you're the reason he never gave up, Jeffrey said. The 4 of them sat down around Rosalind. Michael's children had brought flowers and gifts. Daddy told us about how you took care of him when he was young, Jasmine said. He told us about the time you sold your car to pay for his basketball camp, Marcus said. He told us about all the times you drove him to practice, even when you were tired from work, Jeffrey said. Michael smiled at his children, then looked at Rosalind. I wanted them to meet you. I wanted them to know the woman who made their father, who he is. Rosalind looked at these 3 successful young adults. Jeffrey was a businessman. Marcus was finishing medical school. Jasmine was a lawyer. Your father was special even as a teenager, she told them. Not because he was tall or athletic. Because he never gave up. Because he always tried to be better today than he was yesterday. They spent the afternoon sharing stories. Michael told his children about his fears as a young man, about the times he wanted to quit, about how Aunt Ross always encouraged him to keep trying. Rosalind told the children about their father's kindness as a teenager, how he always helped her with groceries, how he never complained about anything, how he worked harder than anyone else she had ever seen. As the sun began to set, Michael made one final announcement. Aunt Ross, I have something to tell you. I'm building a community center here in Wilmington, a community center for kids who love basketball but need help achieving their dreams, kids like I was. That sounds wonderful, Michael. I want to name it after you, the Rosalind Williams Community Center. Rosalind gasped. Michael, you can't do that. Yes, I can. And I want you to be the director. He handed her a contract. The salary is $60,000 a year. Your job would be to help kids the way you help me, to drive them to practice when they need rides, to believe in them when nobody else does, to teach them that good enough is not enough. Rosalind read the contract through her tears. It was more money than she had ever made in her life. Michael, I don't know what to say. Say yes. Say you'll help other kids the way you help me. I accept, she said, tears streaming down her face. As they prepared to leave, Michael had one last thing to show her. He pulled out the basketball card. Her basketball card. The 1986 rookie card that had started this whole mystery. And Ross, do you want to know who sent you this card? Yes. I've been wondering about that. Michael smiled. I did. You did. I sent it to you 2 weeks ago. I wanted you to know that you weren't forgotten. I wanted you to remember that you were part of my success from the very beginning. But why didn't you sign it? Why didn't you include a note? Because I wanted you to wonder. I wanted you to think about all the people who might remember you. I wanted you to realize that you mattered to more people than you knew. Rosalind held the card and looked at young Michael's face. You were trying to tell me something. I was trying to tell you that the woman who drove me to practice every day would never be forgotten. That the woman who believed in me when nobody else did would always be my hero. Michael hugged her one more time. Aunt Ross, you're not just my aunt. You're the reason I became who I am. You're the person I think about when I need to be brave. You're the person I want to be like when I grow up. As Michael and his children left that evening, Rosalind sat in her living room holding the basketball card. But now she wasn't confused anymore. Now she understood. The card wasn't from a stranger. It was from the boy she had driven to practice every day. It was from the young man she had believed in when he didn't believe in himself. It was from Michael, telling her that some things never change, that love never forgets, that the woman who had given him everything would always have everything she needed. 3 weeks later, Rosalind Williams stood in front of a mirror in her new bedroom, getting ready for the most important day of her life. Today was the groundbreaking ceremony for the Rosalind Williams Community Center. She could barely believe how much her life had changed. The medical bills were gone. Her medicine was delivered every month, paid for by the trust fund. Her new house was warm and comfortable, just 10 minutes from where the community center would be built. But most importantly, she wasn't alone anymore. Michael called her every other day now. Not the quick monthly calls from before, but real conversations. They talked about the community center plans. They talked about his children. They talked about memories from when he was young. Yesterday, he had called with exciting news. "Aunt Ross, I have one more surprise for you." "Michael, you've done enough surprises for one lifetime. This one is different. This one is about family." "What do you mean?" "Mom and Dad want to see you. James wants to bring his kids to meet you, and I want all of us to be together for the groundbreaking ceremony." Rosalind had started crying on the phone. The whole family. It's time we showed everyone how important you are to us. Double quotes now, as she got ready for the ceremony. Rosalind thought about how scared she had been just a month ago, how alone she had felt, how she had thought Michael had forgotten about her. A car horn honked outside. Rosalind looked out her window and saw a black SUV in her driveway. Michael got out of the driver's seat, followed by Jeffrey, Marcus, and Jasmine, but then more people got out of the car. James Jordan Sr. and Dolores Jordan, Michael's parents. They were both in their 80s now, but they looked healthy and happy. Then James Jordan Jr. got out, followed by two teenagers, his children, Michael's nephew and niece, the whole family. Rosalind whispered to herself. She opened her front door before they could knock. And Ross, Dolores Jordan called out, walking quickly toward her. Dolores had always been like a sister to Rosalind. When Rosalind was taking care of Michael during high school, Dolores called her every week to check on both of them. Dolores, James, I can't believe you're here. We wouldn't miss this for anything. James Sr. said, giving her a big hug. James Jr.'s children, 16-year-old Marcus Jr. and 14-year-old Angela, stood shyly behind their father. Kids, this is your great-aunt Rosalind, James Jr. said. She's the one I told you about, the one who helped make Uncle Michael famous. Marcus Jr. stepped forward. Aunt Rosalind, my dad says you drove Uncle Michael to practice every day when he was young. I did, Rosalind said, smiling at the boy. And I loved every minute of it. Was he always good at basketball? Angela asked. He was always determined, Rosalind said. That's more important than being good. They all went inside Rosalind's new house. Michael had furnished it completely, but he had asked her what she wanted in every room. The living room had a big wall covered with photos, pictures of Michael throughout his career, but also pictures of the whole Jordan family. And Ross, this house is beautiful, Dolores said. Michael picked it out, Rosalind said, but he let me decorate it the way I wanted. They sat in the living room, 3 generations of the Jordan family together in one place. James Sr. and Dolores told stories about when Michael was a little boy. James Jr. talked about his military career. The grandchildren asked questions about basketball and family history, but mostly, they talked about Rosalind. I need to tell you all something, Michael said, standing up in the middle of the conversation. Everyone got quiet. A month ago, I almost lost the most important person in my family, not because she was sick, but because I wasn't paying attention. He looked at Rosalind, and Ross was struggling. And I didn't know she was choosing between food and medicine. And I didn't know she was scared and alone. And I didn't know. Michael's voice got emotional. I was so busy with my life that I forgot to take care of the person who took care of me, Michael. That's not true, Rosalind said. Double quotes, yes, it is. But I'm never going to let that happen again. Michael pulled out a folder of papers. I want to show everyone what Aunt Ross did for me when I was young. He opened the folder and showed them old receipts, old letters, old photographs. This is a receipt from 1979. Aunt Ross bought me basketball shoes with her grocery money. That week, we ate soup and crackers for dinner so I could have new shoes. He showed them another paper. This is a work schedule from 1980. Aunt Ross worked double shifts at the school cafeteria to pay for my basketball camp. He showed them a letter. This is something I wrote to Aunt Ross from college. I thanked her for everything she did for me, but I didn't really understand then how much she had sacrificed. Michael looked around the room at his family. Everything I achieved, every championship I won, every success I had, none of it would have happened without Aunt Ross. James Sr. stood up. Son, we all know how important Aunt Ross is to this family. I know you do, Dad, but I want to make sure she knows it too. Michael turned to Rosalind. Aunt Ross, I have one more surprise for you. Michael, please. No more surprises. This one is different. This one is forever. He pulled out a legal document. I've created the Rosalind Williams Foundation. It's going to help kids who love basketball but need financial support. A foundation. The foundation will pay for shoes, equipment, camps, and coaching for kids who can't afford it. Kids like I was. Michael showed her the papers. I'm putting $10 million into the foundation to start. Rosalind gasped. $10 million. It's not enough, but it's a start. And you're going to be the president of the foundation. Michael, I don't know anything about running a foundation. You know the most important thing. You know how to believe in kids who don't believe in themselves. Michael's children, Jeffrey, Marcus, and Jasmine, stood up together. "We want to say something too," Jasmine said. "And Ross, we didn't really know you before last month," Jeffrey said, "but Dad talked about you all our lives. He told us you were the strongest person he knew," Marcus said. "Now we understand why." Jasmine said, "You gave him everything when you had nothing. You believed in him when nobody else did." Jeffrey pulled out an envelope. "We want to give you something." Inside the envelope was a photo. It showed all three of Michael's children at their college graduations. On the back, they had written, "To Aunt Ross, who made our father who he is. Thank you for giving us the best dad in the world. We want you to know," Marcus said, "that you're not just Dad's aunt. You're our family too, and we're never going to let you be alone again." Jasmine added. As they prepared to leave for the groundbreaking ceremony, Rosalind looked around her living room at the Jordan family. 3 generations of people who loved her, people who considered her family, people who would never let her struggle alone again. "I have something to say," Rosalind announced. Everyone got quiet. "A month ago, I thought I was forgotten. I thought I was alone. I thought the young boy I helped raise had moved on with his life and didn't need me anymore." She looked at Michael. "I was wrong about everything. Michael, you didn't forget me. You were watching out for me. You were making sure I was okay. And when you found out I wasn't okay, you fixed everything." She looked around the room. "All of you did. James checked on me. Juanita helped me. Michael's children welcomed me into their family. But most importantly, you all showed me that love doesn't fade, that family means forever. That the woman who drove a young boy to practice every day would always have a place in that boy's heart." Michael walked over and hugged her. "Aunt Ross, you don't have a place in my heart. You are my heart, and our later." They all stood together at the construction site for the Rosalind Williams Community Center. A crowd of people had gathered for the ceremony. Local politicians, community leaders, basketball coaches, and kids from the neighborhood. Michael stood at a microphone to address the crowd. "Today we're breaking ground for a community center that will serve kids in this area for generations. But before we start, I want to tell you about the woman this center is named after." He gestured to Rosalind, who was standing with the Jordan family. "Rosalind Williams is my aunt. But she's more than that. She's the woman who raised me when I was a teenager. She's the woman who drove me to basketball practice every day for 3 years." The crowd applauded. "She used her grocery money to buy me basketball shoes. She worked double shifts to pay for my basketball camp. She believed in me when I got cut from my high school team." Michael's voice got stronger. "Every point I ever scored, every game I ever won, every championship I ever earned, none of it would have happened without Aunt Ross." The crowd applauded louder. "This community center isn't just named after her. It's built on the same principles she taught me. Work hard, never give up, believe in yourself, and most importantly, help others achieve their dreams." Michael looked at Rosalind. "Aunt Ross, would you like to say something?" Rosalind walked to the microphone. She looked out at the crowd of people, then back at the Jordan family standing behind her. 30 years ago, I drove a young boy to basketball practice because I believed in him. Today, that young boy is building a place where other kids can achieve their dreams." She paused, looking at Michael. "But the real miracle isn't that Michael became successful. The real miracle is that success didn't change who he is inside. He's still the same boy who said thank you, Aunt Ross, every morning at breakfast. He's still the same young man who worked harder than anyone else. He's still the same person who never forgets where he came from." She gestured to the construction site. "This community center will help hundreds of kids over the years. But it represents something more important. It represents love that never ends. It represents family that never gives up on each other. And it represents the truth that when you help someone achieve their dreams, those dreams come back to help others achieve theirs too." Michael handed Rosalind a golden shovel. Together, with the whole Jordan family around them, they broke ground for the Rosalind Williams Community Center. As the crowd cheered and the cameras flashed, Rosalind thought about the scared, lonely woman she had been just a month ago. That woman was gone forever. In her place stood someone surrounded by family, someone with purpose and meaning, someone who would spend the rest of her life helping kids the way she had once helped a young boy named Michael Jordan. The circle was complete. The woman who had given everything to help one child achieve his dreams now had the resources to help hundreds of children achieve theirs. And Michael Jordan, the man who had never forgotten the woman who believed in him, had made sure she would never be forgotten by anyone else either. As they walked back to the cars, Michael put his arm around Rosalind's shoulders. "And Ross, I want you to know something. Every day for the rest of my life, I'm going to make sure you know how important you are to me." "Michael, you don't have to do that." "Yes, I do. Because good enough is not enough. I have to be better than good enough. I have to be the best nephew I can be." Rosalind smiled, recognizing her own words from 30 years ago. "You already are, Michael. You already are." We'd love to know where you're listening from. Drop a comment and tell us your city or country. We love connecting with our global audience. If this story touched your heart, please hit that like button and subscribe to our channel for many more inspiring and heartwarming stories like this one. Your support helps us continue sharing these powerful tales of human kindness and resilience. And don't keep this story to yourself, share it with your friends and family. In a world that sometimes feels divided, stories like Rosalind's remind us of the power of love, gratitude, and taking care of one another. Let's spread that kindness and awareness together. Thank you for listening, and we'll see you in the next story.